guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to be pitching the fourth phase of my Transformers Cinematic Universe. Let's get into it. So the first film in this fourth phase is Bumblebee 5 Special Alliance. So as you can see on the picture, this is his alliance. Do you notice something off about it? Starscream is there. After Starscream died in Jetfire, he tried to change his ways after Windblade successfully resurrected him from the dead and legit just. So Optimus Prime has to help Bumblebee and Windblade and the other Autobot right there. I don't know who that is. That could be anyone. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for not knowing who that is. And also a Decepticon who's gonna help them. But he's kind of forced into doing it because he's friends with Windblade. So the main villain of this movie is going to be Shockwave and Soundwave. Even though it's going to be a group effort, all five of them, there's going to be even more Decepticons that we don't even know. Barricade's going to return, Scorponok's going to return, and also Unicron's Acolytes might return in the post-credit scene. In the final battle, this guy right here sacrifices himself to take out Shockwave, and then Starscream jumps at Soundwave and saying, "You're like a brother to me," and like punches his head, but they both fall into Cybertron's core, killing four people, killing Shockwave, whoever this guy is, Starscream, and Soundwave, leaving three Autobots left to remain. In the post-credit scene of this film, Jetfire is in custodial prison for what he did about like a year or 2 years ago. After that, like, but then someone comes and picks him up, and that person is Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime says, "Jetfire, we're gonna need you for another armada." So the second film in this phase is Jetfire Armada. So this is the sequel to the first Jetfire film. After the post-credit scene, Optimus Prime picks him up and says, "We're in another armada." And I don't know what the armada is, but they're probably gonna fight even more villains. So, so Unicron is sending more acolytes and more seekers to to fight against the Autobots and all that other stuff. But then the big puncher, the big gut punch in this film is Jetfire dies. He dies in the final battle with one of the strongest acolytes. He still kills the acolyte, but the acolyte ends up killing him. Like, beating him up really bad to the point where he's on the brink of death. But he's still able to successfully. So I'd say maybe that this is like Nemesis Prime or something. Maybe it is Nemesis Prime. It's definitely Nemesis Prime who is beating up. So I feel like we could definitely make Nemesis Prime be one of the main villains for the rest of this. So most likely he's gonna be like Sindel from MK9. He's gonna be murdering a bunch of characters. But Jetfire does end up defeating him by stabbing him with the saber, and then Jetfire sadly dies in battle against Nemesis Prime. And that's a really big gut punch. I don't know how we're gonna get past this film. It's kind of sad that Jetfire dies, even though we just got introduced to him last phase. But some things happen for a reason. So let's get into the next. All right, boys. The final Windblade movie. So we've loved Windblade. This is Windblade 3. We've always loved Windblade. Her first appearance in Bumblebee 3. Everyone loved her character. But now it's time for another big gut punch. Windblade 3. This Windblade film. Oh yeah, I wonder if I said this in my Phase 3 video. The second Windblade film is named The Everlasting Voices. And the main villains are Everlasting Voices. So in this film, she fights against Nemesis Prime, as everyone wants to fight him because he killed one of the best Autobots, Jetfire. So she ends up fighting against him in the second act, and then she gets murdered. I'd say maybe a Apollo Creed sort of moment, or like she's like cocky in the beginning, or she just says like I'm gonna win, but then she gets beat. She gets punched in the face and she just dies. I just gotta write something for a second. Rest in peace, Windblade. Or so we think. This is only in the second act. And guess what's revealed? Windblade was actually training her own niece. She was actually training Arcee's daughter. But Arcee said she didn't want her own kid. So, Windblade took care of her and taught her the ways of the Windblades. So in the final battle, the new Windblade goes up against Nemesis Prime, and Nemesis Prime ends up losing. Like, legit, Nemesis Prime actually gets defeated the same way the original Windblade died. Punched in the face and then just dies. He begs for mercy, but then she just grabs a rock and then smashes his head with the boulder. You're probably wondering, how does Optimus Prime feel about all this crap in Nemesis Prime stuff? So Optimus Prime is obviously like, we gotta stop him. He's like, and this is in the post-credit scene. So after the new Windblade fought Nemesis Prime, B says he's really proud of her because he knew her mom really well, and it's like really sad. His mom will be sad that one of his friends also died too. So this film is gonna be one of the good films in Phase 4, cause obviously it's gonna be good, cause it's also leaving us on a lot of stuff that could be held on its own. It's it's a nice send off to the Windblade character. It's not gonna be like a Creed situation where it comes back in like another phase. It's not. She's not returning. She's gonna only appear in Transformers films. She's still gonna get mentioned and stuff, but the likelihood of her being mentioned again is not likely, except for in another Bumblebee film. Maybe that'd be great. I'd love to see Bumblebee team up with her, like him and her mom did back in the old days of Phase 2. It was like 2 phases ago. Let's get into the next film. So the fifth film in the Optimus Prime series is Optimus Prime 5: Return of Sentinel Prime. And obviously, this is going to be a big movie because it's also in the middle of another big arc, which is Nemesis Prime appearing on the map, and then also Rocky Balboa, and also Apollo creating everyone. Legit, that's what's happening. So, when Sentinel Prime just comes out of nowhere, Optimus is obviously like, "Where the crap are you? You were supposed to help us in the war for Cybertron. We, you, we needed you when we needed you most." And he turns out he was just on Scarvix. Yeah, maybe we could have saw uh him in like a cloak or something in Bumblebee 2, like how Death appeared in the beginning of Puss in Boots 2. That obviously is gonna be good, but the real main villain in this film is Nemesis Prime, and how Optimus is gonna, and also how Optimus Prime is gonna deal with Nemesis Prime. So, Nemesis Prime obviously is gonna get defeated in this film. Optimus, bow, 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 just punches up Nemesis Prime. But everything can't go as well as we think it could. Optimus gets punched, stabbed, shot. He has to get help from Bumblebee. Optimus is. I heard my dad saying this about Optimus. Basically, if without Bumblebee, Optimus would be dead in the Transformers films. But in here, I want Optimus to be the exact opposite. Bumblebee can still save him, but he can also save B. But if Optimus is gonna die having a chance, he will die having a chance. Because you know what happens? Optimus Prime jumps at Nemesis Prime, punches him, and then he says, "You know what? I've wanted to do this for a long time." He ends up headbutting Nemesis Prime, punching him, punching him towards the core, and then this is Sparta, kicks Nemesis Prime. But then Nemesis Prime grabs Optimus's leg. Optimus holds out his hand. B grabs his hand and pulls him. And Optimus Prime survives. I don't know if I said he sacrifices himself, but he survives. And then he says, "B, I need you for a second." Since Optimus was obviously stabbed in the left corner of his shoulder, and it really hurt him. And he really just starts bleeding. Optimus B grabs Optimus and says, "Are you okay?" He just holds him slowly. Optimus just like falls down on the ground. So they rush him to Cybertronian Hospital to save him. So this was obviously in the second act, or actually the third act, because in the second act, Optimus got rid of Sentinel, because Sentinel, being Sentinel, gets murdered in the second act. But then Optimus gets up for the final battle against, guess who? Guess who? Are you ready? Can you guess it? It's Sentinel Prime. He has to beat up Sentinel Prime. It's basically just like a sparring match. He obviously beats Sentinel, but Sentinel's just like, "No, you don't have to do this. I just wanted to save our planet's race." But then Optimus is just like, "Crap you," and stomps on his head, murdering him. Makes the sound of a bug's dead body crunching. And then Sentinel dies. And then Optimus claims, legit, this is how it probably isn't gonna go, but he says he's ready to claim Cybertron in the post-credit scene. He says, "I shall rule all Cybertron soon." And you're probably wondering, it it seems like you're trying to make Optimus the villain. Optimus is kind of going down some arc where it looks like he's gonna be the bad guy, but no, he's not gonna be the bad guy. So let's get into our next film. So the next film in this phase is Technobots. I think they're all Autobots. And they have to deal with a indispensable threat that is coming to their world, which is obviously Cybertron. Or I want this film to take place in Scarvix. So when they're going around Scarvix, they find out that Megatron's dead body somehow landed there, ravaged, and apparently there was a search for it. And then these guys get really greedy and they want to take one piece for themselves. But before they can, someone appears. Galvatron. I just like bringing Galvatron into this. It's just fun to have Galvatron appear out of nowhere, and he's just like, I wanna. This. So he says, "This is my body, which means I shall take care of it. I have full property of it." So they grab its dead body, dead carcass. So he grabs Megatron's body, and it's the Technobot's goal to find Galvatron before it's too late, and he sells Megatron's body to someone that can resurrect him. They end up dying because they don't get a sequel. They get murdered. Oh. Yeah, they all end up getting killed by Galvatron, except for these two. They survive, but the last three they all get murdered. So they survive, and then they're just like, I don't think we should be Technobots anymore. And then in the post-credit scene of the movie, we find out that Galvatron actually possessed. Before Galvatron got defeated, after he got defeated, he possessed Megatron's body and legit just made Megatron a puppet to walk around in, teasing his return. That's a pretty cool post-credit scene. Let's get into the second. So the next film in the cinematic universe is Hot Rod. This film is actually takes place during the Sentinel Prime arc, not Sentinel Prime arc, uh, Nemesis Prime arc. So this takes place really during Jetfire Armada. So he has to deal with Nemesis Prime, and obviously this movie is not getting a sequel. Yeah, he's not getting another movie, so obviously he's gonna get murdered. So obviously, so obviously, Hot Rod is just like, yeah, we're gonna take out Nemesis. And he also goes with Bumblebee, and they try to defeat Nemesis, but then Bumblebee gets pushed. So Bumblebee is about to get vaporized. This is in the final battle. Bumblebee is about to get vaporized, but then someone jumps in front of him. That person is my boy Hot Rod. Jumps in front and says, "As long as I protect my friends and have an oath, I shall protect my planet." And then Bumblebee runs away as Hot Rod gives a speech on how much he loves his home planet, and then Hot Rod gets obliterated. Hot Rod just gets murdered. He gets shot. He gets obliterated by a beam that leaves a gaping hole in his stomach. Gosh. So Mama Bee comes over to him and says, "Did I save the world?" Bee says, "You tried. You, you, you at least tried. You at least tried." They say we'll try to get you to a hospital, but then Hot Rod says, "No, let me be a part of the rest. I miss Jetfire." And then he dies. He just dies right there. And then let's get into another film that's really much the emo days. Let's get into you know who these is. So now we get into Dinobots 2, Age of Extinction. Yeah, they're gonna die. So everyone is sad in this film. Because obviously it's gonna take place during the Nemesis Prime arc. So Nemesis Prime is obviously gonna try to stop the Dinobots, but Optimus Prime rides to victory on top of one of. He rides on Grimlock. Everyone except Grimlock gets absolutely annihilated by Nemesis Prime, just leaving him. So I'm saying this could be um, the last Dinobot. It's the last Dinobot, basically. Grimlock survives, and then he goes up against Nemesis Prime, and actually pretty much succeeds, because he's got some of Optimus Prime's moves. And also, he's a brute. He charges at Nemesis Prime, but Nemesis Prime kind of moves. But then, well, Grimlock is running, he almost falls off. But then, all of the Crampton sudden, out from nowhere, Swoop comes out of nowhere, and then Swoop saves Grimlock from death. And then they say, "I got a question for you, hot shot, Nemesis Prime. Have you heard of the Arc Bomb?" And then the Arc explodes with Nemesis Prime and Optimus there. Optimus says, "This is what you get for copying my style." And then they both die. Ah! Nemesis Prime tries to run away, but then he gets obliterated. Ah! Gets thrown away, and then he dies. So let's get into another film. The final film of Phase 4. Sup, got. So, the final film, Hot Rod was resurrected. I love Jazz. I wanted to at least mention Jazz. So the final film in this phase is Transformers Shattered Glass. So so this film is kind of gonna be the conclusion to the G1 story. Cause after this we're getting into Beast Wars. Boom. We're gonna start getting into Beast Wars, and then we're set. So they resurrect Hot Rod because Hot Rod said he wanted to be brought into life after they defeated Nemesis Prime so they could actually do something else. But turns out there's nothing they can do because Cybertron is landing on Earth. But there's only one thing they can do to stop it, and that is go into the Shattered Glass dimension. They go there, it's an epic space journey. And then since it's going to be kind of a homage to all Transformers stuff, because Jazz is going to be there, not dead. Yeah, just so you know, Jazz has been everywhere. He's been everywhere. You just don't even know it. And after I'm done with this whole thing, I'm gonna have TV shows that are in this same exact universe. Megatron's the main villain. He's got taken over by the Shattered Glass Dimension as after he got thrown in there, and then he's just like, "I shall defeat you." And then like throughout the movie, they slowly learn more about each other, and then turns out Jazz. All right, Jazz actually likes RC, and when we see it in Phase 7, we're gonna get stuff that it. Yet they get married at the end of this movie. They have a child. So this is obviously gonna be like the fast whatever to G1. So they defeat Megatron successfully, but it leaves one casualty. It leaves. Are you ready for this? Hot Rod dies. He's willing to stay there because someone has to stay there to get rid of the dimension entirely. Which means Hot Rod dies permanently, and then as he looks at his friends one more time, Beast smiles and says, "Nice job, Hot Shot." And then the dimension explodes with hit. Actually, no. So Megatron and him are clashing for one more time, and then they keep clashing and punching. But then when Megatron's on top of Hot Rod says, "Sure quiz, Hot Shot. There's a bomb on a bus. It's coming your way." And then Megatron's like, "No!" The whole dimension gets obliterated, including little remnants of other characters. I'd say Cliff Jumper remnants, Alita 1 remnants, Ratchet remnants, Mirage remnants, Hot Shot remnants, Hound remnants. A lot of. Alright, so this is where the big stuff comes in. Since this video is about to clock in at like 30 minutes long, it's time I get into some stuff. So, you're probably wondering, where do the characters go after they get killed? Or they sacrifice themselves and jump into the, Allspark core. But, you're probably wondering, what happened to Wheeljack? We need to know what happened to Wheeljack. Wheeljack survived. I'm joking, he died. Yeah, Wheeljack got permanently murdered in his way to the Shattered Glass Dimension. Because that's why his head appears in this movie. And also, everyone else that have jumped into the core. Like that Autobot, Starscream, Soundwave, Shockwave, and that weird Autobot. They both are ravaged apart. And I'd say maybe even Starscream survived. But, if there's any shot that Nemesis Prime or any of the other Dinobots survived, that chance would be very slim. And that chance would be luck. But it's not luck. Springer, many other Decepticons, and other characters, they get sent here whenever they feel like they want to die. Basically, it's a suicide town. They just end themselves. So that's going to be it for today's video. I'm going to see you guys next time.